The million-dollar question: what is the right gap between two doses of Covishield? Earlier, it was 28 days, then we heard about 6 to 8 weeks, and now a government panel has proposed an even longer gap. Abantika Ghosh, who tracks COVID for ThePrint, who leads the COVID coverage, please give us this answer. What is the right gap and what is the government finally saying?
Government hasn't actually said anything so far because what we are discussing since this morning, remember, is a recommendation from the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization. This is a standing body. So all the 12 odd vaccines that are in the universal immunization program. Okay, I don't know if all of them, because some of them are really old, but whenever we introduce any new vaccine into the national program, this is the highest technical body that scrutinizes the available data and takes a call on whether or not we should include it. So this is the body that looked at the data on Covishield and has now made these 3 very important recommendations. These recommendations, we were just told, have also now been accepted by the National Expert Group on Administration of COVID Vaccine, that's the NECVAC, which is co-chaired by Dr. V.K. Paul from Niti Aayog and Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan. So we were just told at the briefing that NECVAC has accepted the recommendations, which now means this is now going to go to the Government of India and they will take a call. Now, just to give perspective, just because NECVAC has recommended something does not mean the Government of India accept, because NECVAC, remember, was actually in favor of making 50 plus. In the first phase, they were in favor of making the number 50 plus and not 60 plus. But that did not happen. So we went with, first phase was healthcare and frontline workers. Basically, in the second phase, they were in favor of doing 50 plus, but government thought it better to go with 60 plus. So that's what we did. So by no means does NECVAC accepting a recommendation mean that Government of India will go ahead and accept it, but there is a high probability, that much we can say. So basically now they have said that the Covishield second dose should come after 12 to 16 weeks. Earlier it was 6 to 8 weeks. That's like double, basically.
Double, right. So, Abantika, what is the scientific basis of it? Because, Covishield now has been around for a while. I'm sure there was enough research and enough study done earlier to decide what is the ideal gap. So why is it that we are constantly shifting goalposts? It's just adding to confusion. Does it mean that people who've taken it at a gap of, say, 28 days and then 4 to 6 weeks earlier are at a disadvantage?
What we were told in the briefing is that it is from real world data that we have come to this conclusion that this longer gap works. And we were told that in the longer gap, the 16-week gap, 12 to 16-week gap, what it does is breakthrough infections are less. And breakthrough infections, remember, are infections which happen post-vaccination.
Right.
So we were told that breakthrough infections are less. And see, there is no trial data, at least no trial data that I am aware of, that looks at a 16-week gap. The highest gap that trial data looks at is 12 weeks. But we were told that from real life experience, because countries, this is a dynamic situation. This is a new vaccine, which is why all of this scrutiny and all of this. So the NTAGI officials, basic members, they looked at data from various countries who have been giving Covishield for some time now, and they came to the conclusion that 16 weeks is ideal. 12 to 16 weeks is ideal. This is the point. Now, there are two other very interesting recommendations. One is that pregnant women and lactating women can be given the option of taking the vaccine. So that is actually, right now, I was just going through some of the international literature available. Trials are they're either on in pregnant women or they are being planned. So there is no real data in pregnant women. But CDC does say that pregnant women should be given the option, and they should talk to their respective doctors and find out which is the best vaccine for them. UK, I just heard, has started now vaccinations for pregnant women. And the third thing, which again is causing a lot of consternation, if I might use that word, is this: that if between 2 doses, say you take 1 dose and then you test
Get COVID.
Yeah, you test positive. In that case, you should delay it for 6 months. And that is, I mean, we weren't told what the available evidence is on that. But that is something that sounds a little far-fetched, because see, I mean, how it works is you've taken the first shot and then you have the infection. So
Right.
that's a sort of a booster dose.
Correct.
And then you go and take it after. So the normal wisdom so far has been 30 to 50 days. Right. So now for that to go up this much, I don't know. I actually didn't get time to look up that evidence.
Right. Abantika, either your dogs are vehemently agreeing with you or they're vociferously disagreeing with you. One of the two is happening.
I think yours started it.
All right. Okay. So Abantika, to try and understand, I'm not linking the two, but I'm wondering if there could be a link between the two in terms of the demand supply issue as far as vaccines are concerned, the shortage of vaccines, and the fact that even to meet requirements for 45 plus. For the second dose is becoming a challenge. It's becoming a challenge to roll it out for 18 plus. And some of us who've been lucky enough to get it in that 18 to 44 category, will we even get a second shot anytime soon is the question. So does that have anything to do with the gap, or is that purely scientific?
Okay. So I can't answer that question with any degree of certainty because it's in the realm of speculation. I can give you some numbers. So what happened was, before May 1st, there were 30 crore eligible people in the country, which means we were looking at 60 crore vaccine doses, at least. With wastage, you can add 10% to that. Then from May 1st, 59 crore more became eligible. So now you want an additional, apart from those 60 crore plus 10% doses that you had, now you want an additional 122 crore doses with wastage. And these are your numbers. Till now, the total procurement by everybody, Government of India, state governments, private sector, everybody, the total procurement till now is 51.6 crore doses. Okay. So of these, some are actually in the pipeline. Some have already been used. For example, the 6.6 crore doses that was used from that was bought from PM Cares Fund, that has been used. The 1 crore we got from the Gavi COVAX facility, that has already been used. But basically in the pipeline, we have about 35.6 crore from the Government of India's kitty, which has to go to 45 plus age group. And there are these 16 crore additional doses, which states and the private sector have added to this. Now, why I'm telling you all these big figures is because in April, when there was just 30 crore people eligible, which was frontline workers, healthcare workers, and 45 plus, we did close to 9 crore vaccinations. Okay. But for now, for the entire month of May, when we are looking, we have actually trebled the numbers of eligible people. We are actually looking at a total of 7.3 crore doses in the month of May. Okay. And this is the problem.
Right.
Now, whether this is linked to these announcements about increase of the gap and all of that, I cannot say. I mean, it's speculative. The obvious answer to that, the instinctive answer to that is yes. But
we don't know.
I can't really say with any degree of certainty. But this is how it is. We have trebled the number of eligible individuals in May, but we have about 2 crore vaccine doses less.
All right. Okay. This question is from Gurbani. Can it affect those who took the dose within the shorter duration? So we already spoke about that earlier. Sheelam, how can we trust any information around vaccines? There's still so much ambiguity. So, it's such a fair point, Abantika. You track this very closely. You meet people, you talk to experts, so you have greater clarity on it. But for people like us, who are just relying on what the government is telling us, there is just way too much confusion around vaccines.
No, so see, information inflow is so diverse and so quick that there's confusion everywhere. It's not like I am any better informed. So it's every day evidence changes, experience changes, and there are not just us. So, which I forgot to mention, that I know of at least one other country for certainty, and I'm hearing Canada too, Spain, which has actually increased this dose gap to 16 weeks. And somebody told me Canada too, but I couldn't independently confirm it. So it is, I agree that this is a very dynamic thing, and you are injecting a virus in whatever inactivated, deactivated, dead form into your body. So I can understand there is hesitation. But look at the other side of it. Even if it gives you, let's say, 50% protection, no vaccine we are currently using has that efficacy. Covaxin final efficacy data is not in yet. But even if it gives you 50% efficacy, it's a better option than what we are seeing around us. No beds, people running around, people dying at the door of hospitals, no oxygen. I think even with all this confusion, with all this confusion and confused messaging and this information overload, I would still say it makes slightly more sense, especially in the current circumstances, to take the vaccine if you get a slot,
right?
Rather than not getting it.
Absolutely. Okay, so Yash Khan, in this world of vaccine shortage, will states like Delhi be able to secure any vaccines through global tenders? So we know few states have floated global tenders.
Yeah, several states have: Maharashtra, Orissa, Delhi, and I think more and more are adding to that number. But today at the briefing, we were told that for companies which have already received approvals from countries with advanced regulatory systems, that would be Japan, England, US FDA, all of these, Russia. For those countries, for vaccines coming in from those countries, the approval process would take 2 days. So there is a small process involved. So we were just told that it will take 2 days. Companies states can reach out to them, and if something works out, the approval can work out. But see, this is the global. Your availability increases, right? But you're also competing with the world. So it doesn't. You're competing with the world and you're competing with each other, because you and I are different procurers.
Right.
Right. So we are all in competition with each other in the procurement. So it's anybody's game, really. But I must add one thing. So this approval thing, while this would then apply for Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, and all these 3 companies. Actually, the government of India is also in talks with for them to come. So there are diplomatic channels that are at work here. Sputnik obviously has already been approved. In fact, it may be available from the next week, we were told. But of all the companies, of all the regulators for which this bridging trial waiver has been given, China is not one. So which would mean that if a Chinese company wants to come in, they would not get this waiver, and they would have to then undergo the regular process of holding a bridging trial in the Indian population before they can do any business here.
Right. All right. Okay. Hitesh Nautiyal, what are the main reasons for wastage of vaccines? So that vaccine wastage has become a big thing now. Everybody is talking about it. You've also said that around 10% is an acceptable, proportion of wastage as far as COVID vaccines are concerned. But what are the main causes of wastage?
I would say the principal cause is the fact that this is not an open vial vaccine. So which means you open it, and then whatever remains that day, at the end of the day, you have to throw it away. So which is why before this phase started, there were, even for 45 plus, there is walk-ins now. 45 plus second dose walk-ins are still allowed. So what was happening earlier, what the norm was, is that you can walk in after 3 p.m. So whatever remains of the vaccine, whatever cancellations have happened, absentees have, they haven't turned up. So you can get that. That was the policy. In fact, I read something very interesting somewhere. I forget the country, somewhere abroad, when there were restrictions in who could get the vaccine. Two friends who had gone shopping, they happened to pass by a vaccination center, and they were literally caught hold of and vaccinated, because you cannot keep it. You just have to give it to somebody, and it's better that it goes inside somebody than it goes in.
Right. Okay. This question is from Aryan. Should the 18 to 22 age group get vaccinated? I mean, it is in the allowed category.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand the question. Why not?
I think what he means is that, is it important for this age group to get vaccinated? Because earlier, the wisdom was that it was older people who were getting more affected. But I think in this wave, that sort of has changed.
That has changed. Plus, if you don't get vaccinated, you are basically a carrier for the rest of your family. If you're going out and you don't get the vaccine. So remember, what the vaccine does, it prevents severe disease, it prevents death. It also reduces your infectivity window. So the period during which you will shed the virus would be much longer if you don't take the vaccine than if you take it. So I think even if you yourself are fit enough to withstand the infection, somebody else around you may not be. So for that reason, you should take the vaccine.
Right. Okay, I'll take a couple of last questions. Shrikant, is this gap final, or after a few weeks will they increase the gap again? So really, I mean, once it's closer to our, whatever, 12 to 16 weeks, will they expand it further, or we don't know that? So dynamic.
Nobody knows that.
Right. Okay. I'll take one last question. This question is from a handle called Generic. Should this be a decision taken by the government panel or by the Serum Institute of India?
No, I think the government panel it's not by government, it's not bureaucrats. These are the NTAGI is a standing body of experts that looks at vaccination data, that has been looking at vaccination data as a body for years. So a government panel, I know, doesn't sound very good in the current, the way we are right now. But this is a body of people who are trained in this, who have been following this, who do research in this. So I think, yes, they are capable of taking this decision.
Right. Okay, many questions we couldn't take from Maina Das, Vishal Karthik, Achit Verma, Sehet Shetty, Pradeep D, Vineet Ambat, Balraj Parmar, Kishan Yadav. Many viewers had actually sent in their questions. So a big thank you to them for watching our show and for sending in the question. Abantika, thank you to you for explaining this really, as you said, dynamic, fluid and very complex situation which we don't understand, and which every day there seems to be new information coming out. So do keep tracking the print. Abantika will keep you updated on what is happening on this front, and whether you can take your next jab now after 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks or God knows when. But thank you so much for watching Government Matters. Do keep subscribing.